What's up, everyone? This is Bacon, and today we have another patch note video. It is I like the videos, so I think it's makes my work a little easier because you just kind of listen and then comment on it. But here's to see how, from the text that I kind of mentioned in my previous video about the Hypo gene stuff, here's to see in Celestials to see if there's any more details or information. I'm also curious to see what else is coming up in the companions, the new patch. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
Let's switch over to the companion server.
On the companion server, we've got another new hero joining the roster, Halus the Crafter from the Celestial faction. Halus is also an intelligence-based support, but he plays more like a mage. He strengthens the shield of allies, and his ultimate skill creates a divine obelisk. This obelisk not only protects teammates, but also deals huge damage to enemies. You'll be able to summon Halus through the Stargazer once the update is live.
So similar to other Celestials and Hypo genes, I would just say don't pull for him unless there's, some changes to the system, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I think for all Hypo genes and Celestials, basically you want to give time to test them to see if they're actually going to be good. And as of right now, there's just not very many that are super viable or high need. But with some of these changes, that might change. So I would definitely hold on to your cards. Don't pull for him. I think in Classic, he was okay and for a little while and, had some usage, kind of fell off over time. But I'm guessing that they're probably going to buff him to make him a little more viable. I do think he's a fun character, someone that is, would be fun to have, but I would not go for him at this point.
Brand new season kicks off with updates to the treasure exploration phase. Now you can spend tide shells to recover blessed flames, and there are limited time challenges available in the realm of shadows. This is going to add new layers of strategy to your runs.
We're also getting the Alliance contest.
I think having those specific goals for the floors with the Shadow Realm or Realm of Shadow or whatever it's called is a big improvement. I've had very, very little motivation to progress in the Realm of Shadows just because, it's kind of annoying, like having to collect once you get to 3 per level. Having to collect 3 times and then having to attack, skip, wait 2 minutes, go back. It's a lot of tedious work. I think if there is a quick option where you could just do it from the screen, quick assign, beat it, and then mine it, I think that would be very nice. It's just a lot of keeping up with it that I just don't like. So I guess having some goals in mind will be nice. Obviously, you get rewards just from clearing every floor, but they're not significant enough where I'm really motivated. But I think having goals will be helpful. So cool addition. Expedition is definitely changing every time, so we'll see.
Which opens for enrollment depending on how long your service has been open. Last but not least, we've got heroes adjustments. The overall power for Celestial and Hypogean heroes has been increased, and specifically, Tallying the Resurgence Flame now has reduced cooldowns. Don't worry though, stage difficulties hasn't been raised, so enemies remain just as they were. This is all for this.
So Awakened Taline is the one that they mentioned. They didn't mention the other changes, but obviously that's the significant one. She kind of was disappointing with how, if you're going to have an Awakened Celestial, you don't want her to be not as good as the unawakened version. And it kind of felt like regular Taline was just better off than the Awakened version. And so I think having her, be buffed is a good thing. I still think, like I've said 100 times, making it so hard to get her where you have to just spend a ton of money is not a good system. Obviously, you need to have pay-to-win mechanics in games like this because that's how these games work. But I think having gentler ones where, you don't have to spend $500 or $1,000 to get a one hero to maxed out like a Hypogean or Celestial. It just doesn't make sense. I think having a gentler system with more diverse monthly packs and smaller purchase packs and maybe a few bigger ones here and there makes more sense. But also we have heroes, we have the next level of Rainbow Ascension or whatever you want to call it, That is, I think, a really good system to help people who want that extra edge and who can kind of pay for more summons or pay for more stuff to get it in that way. And I think that's a really good way to give you like, a 10% buff or whatever, versus something that's just so unattainable to 99% of the players. My opinion.
Video. As always, thanks for watching.
Drop a like if this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
All right, that is the patch notes for today. As I mentioned in my previous video, there were a few other changes to other Hypogene and Celestial heroes, including Athalia. She was the big one that is getting buffed. Izith or EZIZH or however you spell it was another one. And then there was one other one I don't remember. I don't think it was very significant, but we'll see. We'll see how these changes affect the meta and affect different parts of the game. Obviously, they mentioned it won't be tweaked in campaign and towers, and so you're not going to be like all of a sudden really struggling with the push anywhere, but it will basically affect their value elsewhere. Also interesting is that there's not a tower for Celestial or Hypogenes, and so even though they are trying to make them more desirable, those are some big motivators if you want to add more like motivation to get these heroes, is to have good or have towers that they can be used in. Because the more areas they're useful in, the more valuable they become. And right now, that's just not a thing. So I'm sure we'll see towers eventually for them. But honestly, I'm kind of glad they're not in the game right now because, nobody has built out Hypos or Celestials unless you've been playing since the beginning or if you've been dropping some money. So that's my thoughts on it. But, average patch updates, we'll see how they go. And thanks for watching, guys. If you like my videos, make sure you like and subscribe below for more content, and have a great rest of your day. Peace.